And now we go to Sunday. We got the number 7 seed Denver Broncos traveling all the way over there to Buffalo, New York, the best team in New York, the number 2 seed Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. What do you think, Big Phil? Can Denver get the dub on the road with the rookie quarterback?
It looks like, I looked at the weather today, a little early to look, but it looks like they could have good weather for the game.
Yeah.
I think that is a pretty good plus for the Denver Broncos. Let's go back, Bo Nix, when he played in New York, when he played the Jets, a little precipitation, and it was unbelievable how bad it was for Bo Nix. In the second half, though,
it was bad for Aaron Rodgers too that day.
I know, but Aaron wasn't throwing helicopters and this and that, everything else. I was like, please put some gloves on or something. Yeah. But just like he is, and like Sean Payton, they didn't back off at all. They just kept throwing it. And Bo Nix hit a couple of plays in that game that gave him a chance to win. I got to tell you, this game, I think it's very dangerous for the Buffalo Bills.
Agree.
Man, I mean, we're talking about it's just every damn play in the playbook is there for the Denver Broncos. And it is nothing like, as we've said many times, it's not what he did in New Orleans. This is a new offense from Sean Payton.
Right.
And they got them all in. It's amazing. And a lot of deep throws down the field. And, we talked about this ad nauseum. Bo Nix has got a much better arm than people were talking about, which we saw in every game at Oregon. Maybe we didn't see what we're seeing now, but I saw it up and go, wow, that was a dynamic power throw with accuracy. And he has shown that for a lot this year. And the play selection by Sean Payton, the management of the game, all those things are really good. So I'm just talking about Denver. Again, I'm going to let you talk about Buffalo more. But they got all the ingredients and a defense with speed. They can sack the quarterback, and they got some covered, guys in the backfield that can help them out too. So I think this game will be close. And let's real quick. Last week 2 weeks ago, when Buffalo played New England, I mean, it took New England just basically said, we don't want to win. Here, take it. Backward pass, this. It was everything going. and it even go back to the San Francisco game when the snow was on the ground. Yeah. Think about early in that game. Kyle Shanahan said it at halftime. Man, we're running the ball great or really good.
Yeah.
And if that snow wasn't on the ground, they were gonna put up big numbers running the football against that Buffalo defense. So there's a lot there, but I think this game will be close. And I do think Buffalo will win, but I think it's going to be exciting because I think Denver's going to hang right in there the whole way.
I think so too, and I really enjoy this matchup of the coaches with Joe Brady versus Vance Joseph. I think this is going to be a really fun one to see how they manage this team. The one group that I think kind of gets slept on, because you kind of just look at the one player for Denver and their defense, and that's Pat Surtain. But him, with Cooper and with McMillan and what they can do in the secondary, they can do a lot of different looks. They can be very aggressive at times, playing straight man coverage. They can do some different zone looks. They can do zone pressures. They can switch up their fronts tremendously with just the depth that they have. They got a lot of guys that play really hard. Yeah, of course, Benito's been playing great. Cooper has been playing absolutely phenomenal. So there's did I say Cooper for the secondary? I meant Riley Moss, excuse me.
Yeah.
But overall, they have a lot of players that I think can really give, I think, Buffalo a lot of problems. And the recipe is always simple, I feel like, in the playoffs. Can you run the football? Can you stop the run? And how physical is your D line in obvious passing situations? And I would say the one issue that the Denver Broncos have, they're not consistent at running the football at will. Bills, on the other hand, they have shown that they have that ability to do that. So I'm curious to see if this is a big, cook game in the running game for the Buffalo Bills. But I agree with you. I think Denver can definitely make this a headache. And just for the sake of the exercise, I'm going to take Denver on the road to get the dub in Buffalo, first round, and upset the Buffalo Bills. And I'm sorry, Bills Mafia. I apologize for that.
Well, I'm going to back you up just a little.
Yeah.
That Denver, if they're getting gassed by the running game, they will go ahead and sell out to stop it and trust their DBs to cover one-on-one.
Right.
And I know the Buffalo Bills, everybody talks about it's a different team. No Stephon Diggs, more guys and all that. All that's kind of true, but I don't think it's a group that you just go, wow, this is really scary.
Right.
This group. It's not Detroit, Minnesota, all these teams that have these 2 and 3 big-time receivers, the Cincinnati Bengals. But when you look at Denver, across the board, they're pretty good on the defensive side as far as stats go.
Yeah.
And this is the first time all year, 18 games, and now we're in playoffs. I'm actually looking at the stat sheet that I make every week about all these categories. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. And that's, Matt, I don't look at that and go, wow, that's a crazy pick by you. If Denver can always going on the road in these playoff games, can you settle into the game?
Right.
If it takes you too early in the second quarter, it's too late.
That's right.
So play selection, play design by Denver, more important for them than it is for Buffalo, just to keep the quarterback, the coach, and everybody into the game and have some and let that confidence grow as the game goes along.
And of course, the cornerstone of the franchise is Josh Allen, and we saw what Josh Allen did and how he handled aggressive defenses by Aaron Glenn of the Detroit Lions, which gave Kevin O'Connell and Sam Darnold fits. They had trouble managing those looks. Josh Allen didn't have any issue because, one, he could physically get out of trouble that consistently, and also that he was just deadly accurate down the field in those man-to-man situations. And you have to think that's got to be the main concern, I think, for Denver defensively is, can we keep this guy in the pocket when we are pressuring him? So it actually does give our guys some opportunity to make some plays down the field, because if he gets outside the pocket, if he can extend plays and throw the football back against his body down the field with guys uncovering, that's where I feel like this offense is even at another level of dangerous for any defense that they face.
Right.
All right.
Well, that was an interesting take on our game up there. I like it.
Yeah,
I think we both see it the same way. I'm not judging this because Denver was a highlight film last week. We've been talking about them and watching them all year long.
No doubt.
We know what this can be, and I'm sure Buffalo knows that too.
Yeah,
they probably worked on Denver quite a bit, right, at least in their installment last week.
Yeah,
knowing they probably would play Denver this week. I'd be shocked if it wasn't that way. All right, go ahead. Oh, sorry.
No, and just like that's like the final thought on this too. Both coaching staffs are on it. They know what their team needs to do. They know how to create big plays. They've done it throughout the season, and I guess that's where, to me, will be the deciding factor in who gets that edge. It's just, what staff is out coaching the other in critical situations. We know McDermott in one-off situation, we don't think that the depth of the defense is all that special. He does create a lot of damn opportunities for that defense. And the same goes for Vance Joseph and, of course, for Sean Payton and Joe Brady on the other side offensively. So it's going to be a really fun matchup for that one.
It's going to be great.
Back to the NFC, 4:30 on Sunday. The Green Bay Packers go to the number 2 seed, Philadelphia Eagles in Philly. It's on Fox. Check it out. Big Phil, the Packers. Everyone was they were everyone's darling sweetheart pick of like, oh, they can make a Super Bowl run. Do you still feel that confident about the Packers now going up against the number 2 seed, Philadelphia Eagles, to start the playoffs in the wild card round?
I haven't had time, and the injury report probably comes out today. Is Jordan Love 100%? What's his status?
Right.
I'm sure he's going to play. What he hurt his hand? I've already forgot.
Yeah, so he basically went numb in his hand.
His
hand and arm got hit a little simultaneously as he was throwing the football. His hand went numb. So typically that has to do with like that nerve area in that forearm, elbow area. So, yeah, that's a concern for sure. And his health is obviously a big part of their success. Do you still feel like they were a team, though, that, I mean, let's just face it, they weren't going to the playoffs firing on all cylinders. They seemed to kind of lose some of their steam here late in the season. And weren't playing as sharp. Watson will be out most likely.
Good receiving core, so I know it's a big deal, but they're deep at receiver, so they should be fine there.
Right. Now, What is the key for Green Bay to get this win though against the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, number one, man, there's a lot of keys. Can they stop Saquon Barkley? Can they match the defensive line? I mean, the offensive line. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to run out there because it's the best in the NFL. And I say,
are you concerned though with Jalen Hurts, the fact that he just got back to playing and out of concussion protocol just yesterday, I believe?
Yeah, no, I don't think he got out. I haven't heard that he's out yet. They're waiting to see that. Today's a big day. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, excuse me. He's back at practice today. Today will be his first day back. Yes.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, he's got to practice, I think, in some type of way for 30 minutes, and then they reevaluate, and then if it works out, then he's able to practice the rest of the week. Hey, look, I think it just makes him fresher. Arms fresh, body's fresh. The man hasn't been involved in that, so that's rested up too. And listen, this Eagles team, I think they're really good. I will be really surprised if Green Bay can beat them in Philadelphia. And there's an edge to the Eagles. You know, what happened last year, losing the Super Bowl before that, all the stuff with, their head coach. My God, he's yelling at fans. I think all these things, it just keeps them on edge and keeps them good. I do. Yeah. And when you got a good offensive line and a good defensive line and a superstar at running back right now, hard to beat it. So I like the Eagles, not maybe winning easy, but I really feel confident they'll win the game and probably win by more than a touchdown.
Yeah, the two people that I think that come to mind with the Philadelphia Eagles this offseason, of course, Saquon Barkley being number one, the second one being Vic Fangio, and just what he has done and changed the identity of this defense has been absolutely tremendous. They're first in total yards per game. They're 10th in the league for rushing yards. They're first in the league for pass yards against. They're seventh in third down percentage. They're eighth in the red zone. And points per game, they're third, giving up only 18. So overall, across the board, doing a lot of good things. And it really just starts with their talent and depth within their front seven. I think they got a lot of speed. They got a lot of size. They got a lot of physicality. And like you said, they play with a mean streak. And being at home in that stadium, I just find it just can be very difficult for the Green Bay Packers to consistently just get it done on the offense side of the football. So it really will rely on, Halfley and their defense. If they can create some turnovers, some havoc on that side of the ball, get some momentum, slow down this Eagles offense, have the Eagles fan base turn on them a little bit, they might have a shot. Because other than that, I feel like the Eagles are the better football team, the more talented football team. And of course, Watson being out, I think, is a big issue. So it's got to be a big Josh Jacobs game to me, where they're patient in the run game, managing the football game, and taking their shots when necessary to Kraft and the rest of the boys.
When you look at the Eagles stats on the defensive side, Vic Fangio, I know they have really good talent down there. They got the all-star team from Georgia. That group is still, they're all whatever.
Quinyon Mitchell's been great. Cooper DeJean's been great. It's awesome how they have found a home for all those guys in the secondary and have made it work. And that's a tremendous van. I mean, Nick Ball and how he's played has been awesome at middle linebacker. Exactly. So a lot of cool stories for that organization and their players.
Yeah, it is. It really is. They're,
hate to say it, huh, Phil?
Well, no, it's okay. I admire the fact of what they are look at. And yeah, I do admire what they've done as a organization and the talent and how they've once again given their football team every opportunity they could ever want to be favored and win games in the playoffs.
Right.
So, that crowd's going to be crazy down there, and it's going to be different. I think Philadelphia's going to win. I think they can win easy too. I do feel that way.
And do you feel like they could still win if, say, Jalen Hurts isn't 100%, or if for whatever reason he's not able to go this weekend?
Well, if he's not able to go, what we found out, their second and third quarterbacks know how to manage the football team and what to do. They were careful with the football, no big mistakes, made some, by and large. I watched the game before. I watched, watching Kenny Pickett, and, he made good decisions. He was doing the right thing these last couple of weeks when he was playing. I felt bad for him that he could go out there and not, if he could, but he got hurt, that he could show everybody that he's still a very viable quarterback. Right. And really kind of to show Pittsburgh, hey, okay, I wasn't that damn bad. How's it going over there right now? So, and too, Matt, we talk about all this stuff all the time. His arm looked good throwing the ball.
Yes.
I mean, it was popping out of his hand.
Yeah.
And so that was impressive too. So good for him. Sorry he got hurt, but I've never really backed away from the Eagles all year because I think we know just if we take them individually and look at it, they're damn good. And they're going to have to really screw it up not to win this game, I think.
Yeah, and I've been impressed too, even with Tanner McKee and how he's looked when he's played, and just how he's managed it. I know it hasn't been perfect, but there's definitely something there to continue to work with and grow at the position. So that's really good for the Eagles and their fan base too, to know that they're developing players and giving players an opportunity to get better with their great foundation of their roster. The next matchup is the number 6 Washington Commanders taking on the number 3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That game is 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC Peacock. Big Phil, this might be my favorite matchup of the weekend, to see Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield just cut it loose there. We know both guys got the talent. We know for damn sure Baker doesn't give a damn. He is going to try to make that play every single time. But just initial thoughts for this matchup and what you're looking forward to see the most.
Well, you're right. I'm looking forward to this game too, just because I think it's going to be fun. Let's see, Baker Mayfield, he's like the golfer. There's a golf hole out there and it's really long and there's water here and there's water there and it's almost impossible to hit the fairway. He goes, yeah, I'm hitting the driver. Here he comes. I'm going to swing as hard as I can too.
Yeah.
I don't care. And, he is what can you say? He's just aggressive throwing the ball. He does not lose control of it. So in other words, he might throw interceptions, but he's throwing it where he wants the ball to go. The defensive player, because it could be there, makes a good play, whatever it is. But I do admire that about him. I look at the defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It seems like their thought is always to stop the run and gamble with the defense in the pass. Man, so stopping the run, that'd be a big deal if they can do that against Washington. And, of course, I think it's a really big deal. Can you keep the quarterback, Jaden Daniels, in the pocket? I say those things are going to work out for Tampa. And even saying that, I still think it will be, if I had to pick a score, I'm going to say like 27, 28 points will probably win the game, and the other team will be pretty close behind you.
The Buccaneers are 3-point favorites against the Commanders the last time that I checked, which I think is a fair assessment. Both these teams played each other week 1. Jaden Daniels played decent, didn't throw any touchdowns, didn't throw any interceptions, first start ever in the NFL, did a lot of good things, and you can kind of see that he didn't seem overwhelmed. We saw some of the bursts too with his legs and what he can do. Both teams, though, are night and day from what we saw in September and what they have done to just improve. And of course, with the collapse of Atlanta and Tampa Bay getting that opportunity to get into the playoffs, even though losing to the Falcons twice in the same year was big. But, it goes back to Baker and Mike Evans. When they are on the field together, it makes everyone else that much better. And, McMillan, what he has done, has just been absolutely phenomenal. And Bucky Irving. So the two rookies really have turned out to be, I think, the two crucial pieces in the offense. And maybe that is, we've talked about this before, the absence of Mike Evans really pushed their maturity and growth and their pressure to perform sooner probably than they really needed him to be. And for Bucky Irving and for McMillan, I think they've been absolutely phenomenal in what they've done. The throw that Baker had to McMillan for the touchdown was awesome. Sprinting on the run to his right, redirects, finds him, throws just an absolute missile on the run to that front pylon area. Phenomenal. And I think those are the plays where I've just turned into a huge Baker Mayfield fan. Let's just face it. All right. Yeah. I love him. But, the way that the team celebrated too for Mike Evans, I thought was super special. So
that was good.
It's amazing. Both of these teams, I feel like, really do have that belief, right? Like they think they can play and hang with anybody. Straight up wise, would you just say that Washington is the better overall football team at the moment because you trust their defense a little bit more than you do Tampa Bay's?
I would say this. I think I like Tampa Bay more as a whole football team just because their offense can do it all.
Okay.
I think they have a tremendous array of plays. They have the quarterback is throwing. We've talked about it already. They can run the football, so they can win, a lot. And they got multiple people to throw the football to. Right. Oh my gosh, is Tampa Bay? There's some teams here in New York would like to be able to pick players like they pick them in the draft. I mean, when all their high picks seem to come through for them. They might not be superstars, but they're damn good. And I look at Tampa Bay and go, they're going to be better next year than they were this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I look at them and say it's at Tampa. I'm putting a lot on Baker Mayfield. I think they can stop the run game and keep Jaden Daniels in the pocket. And if they do that, then now, which a lot of teams have done, can you stand there and make the throws to win the game?
Yeah.
So as we know, Kirk Cousins, if he could play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers every week, he would be in the Hall of Fame after the season be over. Because what did he throw for 500 one game and 400 another one or something crazy?
Yeah, something like that. Damn near 1,000 yards versus one team.
I mean, he really diced them up in 2 games. The one in Tampa was even more impressive just because he was making the reads and getting rid of the football, not to get into Kirk Cousins here. But, I don't think Washington is that type of passing team.
Okay.
Like at that time, the way Atlanta was. So could be a high scoring game, but I like Atlanta. I mean, I like Tampa Bay.
I like Tampa Bay too. I'm going to take the Bucs as well at home in this game. I think this is going to be a really high scoring football game. I say that and watch the final score as 17-10 or something like that. But this game, I think this game is going to be super high scoring. It's going to go back and forth like a ping pong match. And I think there's going to be some big chunk plays essentially every single time that both teams have opportunities at it. So I look forward to it. I'm going with Tampa Bay. Big Phil's got Tampa Bay. So we agree on essentially everything except for the Bills and the Broncos. Right. Where you took the Bills, I took the Broncos, and we'll see about that one. You made some great points about that game, so that'll be interesting. And now to cap it off, Monday Night Football.
Oh, that's right. We got one more. Yes.
We got one more game, Phil.
Yes. Okay. I'm ready.
It's the Minnesota Vikings. 14-3.
Yep.
14-3, Phil. Going on the road against the number 4 LA Rams. 10-7 football team at home. Were you concerned from what you saw from the Vikings a week ago against the Detroit Lions? Is that more good Lions, bad Vikings? And does that have any carryover, you think, into Wild Card Weekend for the Vikings?
I'm going to say it has no carryover for
the
Minnesota Vikings. I think they learned a good lesson there in many, many ways on both sides of the football. I thought Kevin O'Connell was too aggressive going for it on 4th downs, kick the damn field goals. Like it was a playoff game. It's a playoff game. Yeah. Your defense, here's why. The defense was doing a good job against Jared Goff and that offense.
Right.
And taking 3 points, man, it's a big deal. So that was one thing. I thought Detroit, their secondary was tremendous in the game.
Yeah.
There were many things. And maybe they weren't sacking the quarterback, but my God, they were pushing the pocket. And it looked like Sam Darnold, every throw was like, short arm and everything because he couldn't get through the football because of the pressure. But a little unlucky down inside. Some guys missed a couple throws. Guys were open, a couple drops, tough drops, but still drops. And Jared Goff did not play great with the pressure around him. He has a hard time making some throws when guys are right on him. Where I said Jared Goff, I meant Sam Darnold.
Yep.
Yeah. Jared Goff is the opposite. He's got, I don't know how tall he is, 6'5", long arms. I mean, they're all around him. He's just still raising up and throwing over them and throwing with power, in cuts and catch. And I thought he did a really good job with the pressure that was on him. So it didn't shake me tremendously. I look at it and still say this: the Minnesota Vikings are a team. If they make it to the championship game, I'd go, I'm not totally surprised. It's a tough one doing that, but I think they can do it. That's kind of what I think of their football team.
Yeah, and do you feel like the Rams can recreate a very similar type of game plan that we saw the Detroit Lions do against the Vikings, or is that just not capable for what the roster they have and the defense that they have?
I don't think they can. That's one of the reasons why I like the Minnesota Vikings. Man, I almost said Detroit again. The Minnesota Vikings, just because I look at the Rams on both sides of the ball, I kind of go with this. They're a little conservative.
Right.
But let me rephrase that. They're very conservative. and even on the offensive side, Sean McVay, all the people there, Matt Stafford, even there, I don't look at it and go, wow, these are a lot of great schemes they're using. It's kind of like, this is what we do, and we're going to do it against you, and our guy's going to get open, and we're going to have a quarterback make great throws. So this is, and go back. Let me go to Minnesota for this last thing.
Of course,
You talk about free agent pickups.
Yeah.
When you watch that game,
I know.
Van Ginkel and Jonathan Gennard, I mean, they are the stars of the defense, and they make it all happen.
Yeah.
They're not good. They're on the border of great.
Right.
And both of them probably should be on the All-Pro team, or I haven't looked at see all those positions, but they've played that well this year, and they're always outside. And maybe move around, but it seems like they're always outside. And they're just they do. They make that defense dangerous because how good they are, and timing blitzes, running guys over, and then diagnosing plays. They just got it. They're smart, talented football players.
That's a great point, big guy, and I think you're spot on with that, and I agree with you 100%. Grenard and Van Ginkel have been absolutely phenomenal free agent signings for them this past offseason. It kind of shows you, too, that you really can change the way you feel about the depth of your team at a certain position group in one free agency cycle, and that's what the Vikings did. Van Ginkel, man, he almost intercepted that wide receiver screen that golf through. That would have totally changed the outcome of that football game, or at least the feeling of it. Because that goes to one of the many missed opportunities by the Minnesota Vikings in that game. So the Vikings, I'm sure, watched the film of that game, were sick to their stomachs because they're like, damn, although the score looks bad, there was many opportunities for them to be back in that football game. I'm going to take the Vikings on the road against the Rams in this one.
You are? Okay.
I think the Vikings are the better football team. I love Matt Stafford. I love what they do. I believe in Sean McVay. But I do believe that Kevin O'Connell and this offense will bounce back and have a better performance. I do think that Brian Flores will bounce back and have a better performance against Sean McVay. Brian Flores has been awesome. He's given up 30 points to 7 different teams throughout his defensive coaching career in the past few years. 4 of them are a Ben Johnson offense. And that just kind of goes to show you that just – Ben Johnson puts so much pressure on his defense to do that. I don't know if the Rams can do that same exact thing.
No.
So I give them a little bit more advantage on the defense side, especially the offense side against the Los Angeles Rams in this one. I think Darnold bounces back and plays a better game. Jefferson will be involved in the game early and often. We can guarantee that, right, Phil? Like we're going to get dude the ball right away.
Yeah, a couple little things. One, the Rams can't change their whole philosophy and who they are just getting ready for one game. So they can't do what the Detroit Lions were doing. Detroit, I give them a lot of credit. Man, they were super aggressive, really into the game, played very smart. And, too, why couldn't the Vikings score when they're inside the 10-yard line a lot? It was amazing how Detroit would have the guy and let him go because there was somebody waiting. They would cut to another. The teamwork that they had down there in the goal line was unbelievably great.
Yeah.
And, they got a little lucky too. The pass rush saved them about 2 or 3 times. Yep. And I think it was Justin Jefferson in the back of the end zone. Tough catch, but, we expect him to make it. Didn't do that. And then I think it was Justin Jefferson. He was in the slot. He did an out and up. He was the inside guy. They were tight and kind of.
You're thinking of the play. It was Jordan Addison.
Was it to the right?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah, Jordan Addison near the goal line and out and up. And really, honestly, if they just threw the out,
that's it.
They kind of outthought themselves a little bit there with how they played that stack formation in that situation.
Well, the formation won the battle. But the fact that they did the out and up the second part allowed the defensive back to get back in position to make it where it was going to be incomplete. Yeah. And the other thing is, I think that was a play Sam Darnold's arm was hit too. So he played it safe. He was playing it too safe with some of his throws.
Right.
Go ahead and rip it in there. Trying to make sure it's not intercepted, I thought worked against him in the game.
Sam Darnold missed the slant and go to Justin Jefferson. He missed the in cut in the back end line. Right. They were trying to get Aaron Jones out of the backfield in man coverage versus a linebacker. They had him. That's when Pascal hit his arm as he was falling through the throw there.
Okay.
So there was 3 or 4 opportunities there in that low red zone. There was another one too where Darnold passed up essentially like a one-step slant. He thought the window was too tight. Probably could have made the throw. He didn't. If he would have stayed with his progression to the strong side there, they ran that little return by the guy coming in second. He was open for a touchdown. So that's even Hockenson. He ran it out and up from the slot later in that red zone in the second quarter. So there was multiple missed opportunities by the Vikings where their explosive plays, their touchdown plays, they're totally momentum changing football plays. They didn't make any of them. I just think that it's hard for us to think that the Rams will do that again to this offense and what they can do 2 weeks in a row. I know it's a home game, but it's not Ford Field. It's not the Detroit Lion fan base. I would expect that there's actually going to be a heavy contingency from Minnesota at this one.
Absolutely.
Even though I have been impressed, the Rams fan base has been growing and better, which is really exciting. And then also just a final note for this game, just to kind of remind everybody too, there are wildfires going on right now in California. Yeah. So there is still a potential relocation of this game. I don't think it has been decided by the NFL yet, but they are monitoring it very closely. If that is the case, the game can potentially be moved to Phoenix, Arizona, or in Las Vegas where the Raiders play. So that would be really interesting to see how the home team navigates that situation. But thoughts and prayers go out to everyone that is going through that experience right now in California with those fires. It's absolutely unbelievable, the sights that I've seen and everything that you kind of see on the news and social media. Absolutely just devastating to see people's homes like that in that situation. So we're thinking of you. We're praying for you. And the very best of the people too, the firemen that are battling those fires right now in those situations. So we'll see how that plays out here later in the week for the matchup. Big Phil, any other final thoughts on?
I think my final thought is this, the Rams, very impressed with how they've reorganized their football team.
Yeah.
A lot of young guys. I was counting it up. I said, man, I get too much into these. I'm going to count the number of guys that I like that are young, but I would say they have 10 to 15 guys that are young on that team that are going to be players for them.
Right.
And they got potentially a few superstars or stars coming up.
Yeah.
So I this is what I found out just watching, a lot of highlights of the Rams. I just wanted to get a better feel for who they were. And can Matt Stafford hang in there and be part of this in these next – does he have 2 more years in him, Matt?
I think so, yes. I think so.
If he does, if he can stay healthy for 2 more years, then I'd be surprised if the Rams are not like a Super Bowl contender. If not next year, then the year after. I think they did a great job. They sold the farm to win a Super Bowl, and it's worth it. You won. And now they had to replant the seeds, and we'll see how that works out. Will they grow into what we think they will? Boy, how about that? See? Farming came through finally.
all those years later, it came through. And I agree with you. I hope Matt Stafford does hang in there. I think Matt Stafford is just so overlooked. He's so disrespected. Even the damn Detroit Lions fan base just disrespects him at times. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. The treatment that he gets sometimes from the media that just kind of just reminds us too that so many people cover the sport and they have no idea what the hell they're talking about, especially when it regards to the NFL. I know I don't know what the hell I'm talking about a lot of the time, but I do know really good quarterback play. And I do know that dude is a really, really good quarterback. And like you said, he is absolutely a Hall of Famer.
Well, my last parting shot here, it's not a shot. This is just a fact.
Yeah.
No, it's good. Everybody, the Giants, the Jets, who's our quarterback? We got Cleveland needs a quarterback. This team,
right.
Tennessee. Oh my God, everybody needs a quarterback. Whatever. And there's a team up north in the Northeast, the New England Patriots. Hell, they got 2 in one draft.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Man.
So, yeah, let's go into it. You were, before we went on the air, Big Phil was absolutely just floored with the performance by Joe Milton.
Oh my gosh.
The Tennessee Volunteer himself. Go Orange. What'd you think about his play?
I can't, it was great. The word great is, we say it too much. I try not to say it. No, it was great.
Yeah.
On the run. Just, Matt, I couldn't even see the ball in the damn film.
Right.
It's just, there it goes. And it was unbelievable. Deep throws on the run, lots of pressure around him, and he's got a compact motion, was getting rid of it and sticking the ball in the receiver's chest. I was impressed with him during the preseason. We know he practiced well up there. We heard that. And I even said I was talking to Boomer Esiason this morning. We had a phone because we're going to do something next week. I said, man, I don't know. I would look into New England and see if they want to trade him.
Right.
Just maybe give up something pretty good to get him. And preseason football, and what I saw in that game, did you watch it? I know I asked you. I already forgot what you said.
For last week's game?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. Yes. It was awesome. Yeah.
I'll just read some of the things I wrote down. Love his motion, has rhythm in the throwing. He's got great size, strong arm, compact motion, can get rid of it quick, tight spots. I said he did not miss a throw basically in the game. Run left, run right, it didn't matter. The only time I saw him miss a throw, he ran right, and he did the on the run near the sideline. He did what, Matt? Arm went down, ball was short.
Forward. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit. But that was only one play.
Hard. Yeah.
And I don't think he has to try to throw it hard.
It's just natural, right? And I think a lot of credit too goes to Van Pelt, their offensive coordinator.
Absolutely.
Because we were thinking the same thing about both of these quarterbacks in the preseason. We saw the talent, we saw the raw talent. It was there. They both at times showed some really good moments. They both at times looked very skittish and just young and didn't really know what the hell they were doing. And credit to them. And really just that offensive coaching staff for preparing Drake May and making him look, like an improved quarterback in just a few weeks from when he got the opportunity to start. And then, of course, with Joe Milton, what he did at the end there, extremely impressed with that. For a coaching staff who was under a lot of scrutiny throughout the year, Van Pelt did, I think, a really good job preparing those two young guys to play at a high level for a team that has a lot of other deficiencies as well.
Hey, look, I'm not going to stop at that. Drake May, you lived up to everything you were supposed to be as a first-round draft pick, the third pick of the draft.
Yeah.
And, he played really well, great presence. He looks, New England's got the two biggest damn quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
As a group. They're both big, 6'5". They look taller than that actually on the field. So New England did a great job. And I'm not sure who's is it Wolf? Elliot Wolf is the general manager.
Yeah.
Well, his father, when he was in Green Bay, constantly would draft a quarterback and they would groom them and then trade them off.
Right.
They did it. I can't remember the quarterback they had was really talented. Went down to New Orleans, had a pretty good career there because they traded him. I think they got a second-round pick or something like that for him. But they were big. Let's draft another quarterback. We know we got our starter, but let's get one or two more up here and groom them and trade them for, draft picks and make our team even better. So New England I want to say, great job drafting those quarterbacks. And that has to be whoever gets that job is going to go. I think we feel pretty good about that position. Most head coaches are getting jobs and they're going, well, who's going to be our quarterback?
Right.
You don't have to worry about it.
I want to ask you this real quick, just because we did dive into this New England discussion and, to the fans that are listening and check this out eventually. Here you are saying, great job, New England Patriots and all that. All right, the coaching staff got fired. Do you think it was too soon? Should they have been more patient with Gerard Mayo? What were your, initial thoughts to that breaking news when they fired him?
Well, you did a great job talking about Van Pelt. Got the quarterbacks ready. The offense, had some rhythm as the year went along. It got bigger and bigger and all that. Yeah, but I did a lot of reading, just some of the the press conferences, everything. And honestly, I understand why Bob Kraft knew he had to make a change.
Okay.
And they got money, draft picks, a lot of stuff that's looking ahead they're going to have. And I guess I just think that he felt that's the best thing to do. And I really think the Patriots probably have a chance to turn their team around quite a bit here in the first year with the new head coach.
Yeah, interesting to see the direction that a lot of these teams too that have head coaching vacancies go. A lot of interesting names that are popping around, and of course, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson are very high on that list for all teams involved, just because of how well they performed as the offensive defense coordinators for the Detroit Lions. Big guy.
Yeah. No, let me say this. I have discussions all week long. I talk to a lot of people because I'm bored. And I was talking to Boomer Esiason, and he goes, well, Detroit's secondary is beat up. Don't you think they'll play more zones? We're just talking. And I said, no. Right. Aaron Glenn is not – he's coached them like he's playing corner still.
Right.
You got him man-to-man, and by God, he's got that I think he has a great presence, even on the sideline during the games. His communication with the players is awesome. And his teaching of it, how they read routes against the Minnesota Vikings was tremendous.
Right.
And so he wasn't going to play any zone coverage. Hell, they were up there being a super aggressive, playing it and not really commit many fouls as I watched that game.
Yeah, it's a great point, and always a good reminder for all of us. Like, zone is difficult when you're not in tune with the whole unit. It can be very hard to pass off things and to talk through things and all those things. And I know one thing, Aaron Glenn's like, it's really easy. You see the guy in front of you, cover him. That's all you got to do. We're going to take care of the rest for you. So, Big Phil.
All right.
Great show. You the man. Thank you to BetOnline. Thank you to Believe. He's Phil Simms. I'm Matt Simms. This is Simms Complete. Looking forward to wild card football games all weekend. We got some great college games as well. We'll talk about those games next week, Big Guy. Would love to hear your thoughts on how those games play out. We got Penn State. I was going to say Pittsburgh. Penn State versus Notre Dame. And we got the Texas Longhorns versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. Thankfully, you and I are not going to be watching that game with Christopher because he just. Well,
our son, your brother, played for Texas, of course. And I was up there when they were playing. I don't. It was the championship game, the SEC.
Yes.
I had to turn to him and go, shut up. We couldn't. He was screaming. You know how he is.
Yeah, of course.
It's not that it was so loud. I was like, I don't care if you moan and groan over here, but at least let me watch the game without it was crazy. He's going to the game.
Oh, is he going to the game?
He's going to go to the game, taking the whole invite.
Well, good. I hope he enjoys watching Ohio State kick Texas's ass. It's going to be a good one.
Hey, look, if he had a private plane, which he's not, and all this other stuff and paid for my hotel room and gave me great seats, I'd go, I don't care. I'm still not going.
Yeah, right.
I want to be on my couch watching the game.
Yeah.
I don't want any of that other stuff. So he can have fun doing that. But
I'll take a ride on the private plane. But other than that, no, I'm kidding.
That's overrated.
Hey, that's Phil.
Right. Good stuff. See you, man.
I'm Matt. You the man. Thank you to Believe. Check him out. Phil Simms Believe on Instagram, on Twitter. Matt Simms Complete on Instagram, on Twitter. We'll be back next week to break out some more games. Enjoy your football weekend. Simms Complete. See ya. Toodles. We're out of here.
Toodles.
Toodles.